Welcome you and I to another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. I am your host, Crispin Valentin. Thank you so much for being here on another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Subscribe to the channel right now. You have nothing to lose and so much things to gain, such inspiration like this story from Jenny Mesa. She is the owner of Pasteles Y Más, makes amazing cakes. Not only that, but she has such an amazing story. From 13 years old, decided to know what she was going to do to currently actually living the dream. And now to the episode. Jenny, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, hola, bien.
Nice to see you. I haven't seen you forever. Just kidding. I met you through Aida and Charcuterie Chic, and I've seen some of the work, and we've been out and about. So it's pretty cool to be able to sit down here and learn a little about your story. I've seen some of your work. It's cool.
Thank you.
Interesting, very interesting. Can't wait to hear all the beautiful techniques about cakes and all that.
Oh, awesome.
Because I don't bake, but I can always learn.
Yeah.
But before we get started, we're going to start with a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? You're wasting time. I'm telling you right now. Go ahead and do it. It's for free, and you're helping us a lot to reach more subscribers, more individuals. So let's go. ¿Estás lista? Are you ready?
Sí, estoy lista.
¿Tacos o tortas?
Tortas.
Who has better tacos, California or Texas?
Ooh, I'm going to get canceled here in Texas, but I'm going to have to say California.
Why do you think that it's such a debate, and why do you say that they taste a lot better over there?
It's because Texas has Tex-Mex. And I feel like the flavors and the technique is a lot Tex-Mex than it is out in California.
Even the street tacos, the actual regular street taco, did you find any stand here in Texas? Igual?
No.
Still has the seasoning?
It still has this. Unfortunately, I have not found really good street tacos here in Texas.
Mexican street tacos?
No, I have not.
Oh, wow.
I know. Siempre salen secos, no tienen sabor. And I'm like, you guys, come on. Texas was part of Mexico. What are we doing here?
Getting canceled already.
Yeah, I know.
No, just kidding. Corn tortilla or flour tortillas?
Corn.
Gorditas or pupusas?
Pupusas.
Jarritos, ¿de qué sabor?
Tamarindo.
Agua de horchata, jamaica, or tamarindo?
Horchata.
Are you team salsa verde or salsa roja?
No, verde.
Verde all day. Yes, what I'm talking about. Okay, so for you, when it comes to making a cake, what is the chocolate or vanilla for you?
Oh, vanilla.
Vanilla? Yeah. No chocolate?
No
Really?
chocolate. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised. Churros or flan?
That's rough. Churros.
Churros. When you want to dance, you want to have a good time. Let's say you sold out, the cake came out great, the customer was super happy either for a wedding or a quinceañera, sweet 16, whatever the case might be. The customer is like, oh yeah, I love it. And you want to celebrate. Do you like to dance salsa, merengue, bachata? Any of those are your flavors, or it could be something else.
Perreo.
Oh,
Reggaeton.
what? Sola. Hey. Perreo sola. That's what I'm talking about. When you hear the word Latino, Latina, what is the very first thing that comes to mind for you?
Resilience.
Resilience. Do you consider yourself Latina? Do you care if anybody calls you Latina? Do you prefer Mexican American, Chicana? What is your preference for you?
I would say Latina. Yeah.
Latina. Go.
Latina.
So let's get started with your story. Very interesting. Early beginnings, if I'm not mistaken, you were raised in California, ¿verdad?
Yes.
So you were born in California también?
No, I was born in Mexico.
You were born in Mexico. ¿Qué parte de Mexico? What area were you?
La ciudad.
Okay. La capital, not Chilanga.
Yeah, like
Capitalense? Oh, man, I get twisted with the word. Anyways, do you remember early childhood in Mexico? Because I have familia también in Mexico City, in different areas, different places, cousins, y todo esto.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. I came to the United States at a very young age, so I don't have a lot of memories at all. All of my memories started being raised in California.
When you talk about early age, how early were you talking about?
Before 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of hard to remember.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember.
California specifically, what area did y'all ended up being at, and why did your parents decided to say, you know what, aquí en el DF, maybe just not cutting it, or we have an opportunity in the U.S., let's go to the U.S.?
Yeah, from when my mom has told me that they had an opportunity better for the U.S., it was me and my two older brothers, so it was already three. And a lot of people, she was hearing a lot of people like, si vas al norte, te das más oportunidades, hay más trabajo, and so having us in mind, she's like, well, we're gonna have to go ahead and give the U.S. a chance. And she landed in California, in Los Angeles specifically. I'm not sure why they chose Los Angeles, but at that time it was just predominantly Latinos that were there. And so that's where we landed. So I grew up in Los Angeles and then like in the Valley area of that too.
Okay, Los Angeles and Valley area. Was your dad also part of the journey to the Cali? So we're out together. Okay, when you get to California, as far as in year 5, when is the early memory of yourself being raised in California, how the neighborhoods are? Because you hear different things in the news or in social media or videos and things like that. But when you were growing up and you started kind of sort of remembering things, what did it look like to you?
For me, I remember going to elementary school. I think it was like those memories really stuck to me because I only spoke Spanish. And so I remember they were telling my mom like, oh, it's okay. Like we're going to eventually like teach her English. And so from kinder till I believe 2nd grade, it was like, I remember my teacher speaking Spanish. And then kind of towards like the 1st and 2nd grade, it was like, okay, now we really got to like get the English going for here. I don't really remember the neighborhoods. I mean, we lived in an apartment complex. So I do remember a lot of people being everywhere, living in apartment complexes. Yeah, the neighborhoods weren't so great, but it's almost like I got used to it because it was just my everyday, seeing it every day.
Yeah. Was it what they see on the movies and stuff like that? Maybe some bad things, bad habits, things going on?
No, there are areas like that, but where we were at, it was not. So wherever like the movies portrayed it, it was usually other parts of Los Angeles that were were like that.
Because a lot of the times, I don't know exactly what year, but usually, the cholos, the gangs and things like that are some of the things that are portraying LA for the most part, gang culture and all that stuff. So that wasn't part of the things that you were experiencing during that time?
No, it was not part of the experience. Okay. Yeah, there was different parts of LA, which my mom knew about, and that's where she was trying to keep me and my brothers out of that.
Okay, so she was conscious about where y'all went, and, again, great job, Mom. Yeah. But yeah, so some of the things that you hear about, and if you don't know, then you don't know. Yeah. But y'all stayed in California, LA, most of the time. You said the Valley también.
Yeah.
Later on in life, or how old were you at that time?
I believe we moved. So we lived in Silver Lake. And then we moved, I want to say like when I was like maybe in 3rd, 4th grade, we moved to Van Nuys, which like starts like the Valley area. And we just stayed there. And then by middle school, I moved to North Hollywood. And then I stayed to North Hollywood until we moved to Texas.
Nice. So how old were you at that time when you started making your way to Texas?
I was 17. I was 17 going to 18 when we moved to Texas.
Before we start moving, 17 here in Texas, take me back to your earliest memories, a box of cakes. You started cooking a box of cake. How did that come about? You just got inspired one day. Let me try to make a cake out of a box and see what I get.
Yeah, actually, we were at the grocery store, and you know how like the boxes of cakes have the pictures of the cake. Yeah. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, "Yo quiero un pastel, yo quiero un pastel," And so I somehow convinced her, and she's like, "Okay, hacemos un pastel." And then she brought the box of cake home, and I was like really excited, but like I couldn't read English with the instructions, so like me and my mom literally were just trying to figure it out how we're doing it, and they show you like las fotos, and then she was like, "Okay, do this, you do this." And just mixing everything with her and being like, whoa, you can mix everything together. And then I think what really got me inspired and really like in awe was whenever the cake came out of the oven. Because I was like, we took eggs, whatever was in the package, aceite. I was like, my mom added a couple of things, mixed all of that together. I'm like, and it made this cake? Like it made this? This is what it made? And then like eating it, I was like, yeah, I want to do it again. And so the next time we went to the grocery store, I told my mom, I was like, otro pastel. And my mom was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She's like, no tanto pastel. But that's really what inspired me, was just making the cake with my mom and just having everything together.
Were you about 11 years old, or how old were you at that time?
No, I was 7.
You were 7 years old. So at 7 years old, the little picture looked very beautiful and nice. All of a sudden, like, as you're making it though, like, are you really feeling excited as far as like how everything's gonna come together? Because again, you're putting all these raw ingredients and all this flour in there, and it's gonna make a cake.
Yeah, no, I still get excited. I still get excited with everything. Of course, I mean, I don't want to go too further. Now it's a lot more excited, but at that time, yeah, it was exciting to put how all of these ingredients together and mixing them together.
Yeah.
And then the outcome of it.
So your mind was blown to be all of a sudden to be able to have the cake. Were you kind of impatient and wanted to like take a bite? Did y'all decorate the whole thing, the cake itself, or how did that go for the very first cake?
Yeah, no, we didn't decorate it. It was just fun, just like that. But I was very excited to eat it already. Mom was like, "No, you gotta like let it cool down before you eat it because it's really hot." Y yo de necia no escuché, and so I'm trying to get a piece and it's hot, and I'm like, "Okay, maybe I should wait to let it cool down."
So you did try to bite it as it was hot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, is that before you get to Texas? Are you already Ace of the show? Ace of Cakes. Ace of Cakes. Are you already watching the show already, or when you get to Texas, when you kind of sort of watch the show?
No, when I was 13, I started watching that show, and because of that show, it really showed me like the aha moment. I was like, oh, you can do this for a living? Like, people pay you to make cakes? I was like, and you can make these type of cakes? Like, this exists? I just thought cakes like from fiestas, quinceañeras, you know? But like Ace of Cakes for me was like a different level because that was whenever fondant was like trending, you know, and these big tall cakes and detailed, and, you know, you can make like a big guitar cake, and that I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I have to do this. I have to do it.
Well, somebody that's not into cakes or baking or any of that, what is fondant specifically? What is it?
Fondant is just like a sugar sheet, so it's what makes some of the cakes look really smooth.
Okay,
so you have like that smooth finish.
So it's like the clay looking thing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's fondant.
Yeah.
I don't know about cakes. I baked during COVID bolillos, and they come out great. It's so good that my brother thought he was eating one from the store, and I told him, "Nah, I made them though."
Oh, nice.
It feel kind of cool. Anyways, that's not the cake, but great thing that I got a cooking story.
Yeah, baking. Okay.
So you get to Texas. Now you're here in Texas. You kind of sort of inspire. Are you making any cakes for the family even then, from 13 to 17, or you're just going through life? But you already had some kind of little something that sparked inside of you that you wanted to do this. Did you embark on making cakes at the time or not? Not yet.
Yeah, I was still making box cakes, and I was just making random cakes. Be like, you know, because I didn't coming at like a high school age,
right?
I didn't really have friends except for my cousins, and I just be at home, and I'm like, and also my mom didn't let me go out, but I just randomly, like a Saturday night, I was like, well, you know what? I was like, my mom bought like the box cake. Let me make the box cake today. Why not? Sure. So like, I'll spend like my Saturday nights making a cake and trying to like be like, okay, well, what else can I add to it? Or what can I do? So I was just making cakes on random days. On random days that I would just go ahead and make cakes. And eventually, sometimes I would make cakes for like my brother's birthday or my mom's birthday.
Sometimes parents kind of sort of super protective, not to let you out of their sight and be very strict to keep at the house. Is that kind of sort of the reason why you didn't want to have any friends? Because you couldn't have them over the house anyways, couldn't go anywhere? Or was there a particular reason why friends were not around? Was it because the school that you were at?
No, I think I was very much in like my niña rebelde stage where I was just very like, I'm very upset that we moved out of California. Like, I miss all of my friends from California. I miss my home because we moved to Rowlett, which was completely different. Oh, yeah. It was such a culture shock. And I was like, I don't know anybody here. I don't know the area around here. I can't walk anywhere because over there it's like, okay, I'm bored. I'm going to walk to the corner to go to the corner store, you know, or like I know somebody that's like 2 blocks away. I could just walk over there, you know. And I was like, I don't know anybody here. I don't know the area. I was like, you know, so I'm like, I'm just going to be angry in my house making cakes.
But you did have friends in California, right?
Yes.
You're talking about when 17 going forward, when you went to school and like, no amigos.
No amigos.
Yeah. Okay, culture shock. what is the craziest thing that you started seeing that is, of course, you said the walking part, but what else is standing out to you? This is not California no more.
Yeah. I went to Rowlett High School, and of course, it was before the George Bush was there. And it was just like land. And I remember like literally across the street from Rowlett High School, someone had a cow. And that was the first time me seeing a cow.
In real life.
In real life. And I was like, there's a cow right in front of the high school. I was like, is that cow just free? Or like, whose cow is this?
That's when.
And I was, because, living in the city so compact, like there's no wildlife, besides like the birds and squirrels. But that was one of my culture shocks, was one, seeing a cow out in the field. And two, going to high school was the slang, was a culture shock.
Mm-hmm. What do you remember from the slang back then?
From the slang back? Someone has said, I was throwed. I didn't know what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that word means.
Such a Texas thing.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what that word means. I don't know how are we using it here? I'm like, I have no idea.
Okay, so tell me the slang in California when you got here. Did you put anybody on game with some of the slang y'all were using over there?
Not really, but we did have to explain it. I remember my cousin, because I did end up going to high school with my cousins, and I remember my cousin telling some guy that was bothering her, she's like, stop or I'm going to sock you. And he goes, sock me? He's like, you're going to give me a sock? And sock you means no, like you're going to get punched. Yeah, you're going to get punched. And so I was like, you guys don't say that? Like, what do you guys say? So I do remember that. That's like, we had to explain what I'm going to sock you means.
So the conversation stopped. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to a lesson about sake. Like, okay. Any other slang that you remember from California that was like kind of interesting? Because, okay, so to me, when I went to school, I think it was middle school, there was two dudes from California that moved, and they were like way different. They were the Van Davis, the T's, and just talking to them was pretty cool, even listening to the music. So to me, it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know if the Rowlett wasn't ready for y'all. California kind of sort of like all of a sudden you talk a little different, you hear a little different, and even us Texans sound way different than y'all. Was there any of that embracing this? Like, oh my God, y'all different, but let me hear what y'all got to say.
Yeah, I think I never noticed it, but people say that I had an accent. They're like, you sound different. And I'm like, well, I'm speaking English. Like, I'm not sure. Even when I would say, another like culture shock is when I would speak Spanish, because I had noticed here in Texas, there was a lot of like Mexican Americans or Latinos that didn't speak Spanish. So they'd be like, you speak Spanish? And I'm like, yeah, you don't? You don't?
You don't?
You don't? Yeah. So I never noticed my accent, but apparently I had an accent. Also,
how would you say your accent was? How would they explain it to you? Like Cholita? Like...
No, it wasn't Cholita. Someone did say they're like, it's very like West Coast. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
If somebody in the comments tell me what that means specifically, because I don't know what that means, West Coast.
Yeah, but they're like very West Coast. And I was like, I feel like you're just giving me words right now. But of course, one of the main things that people would ask, because they're like, oh, you're from California, you're from Los Angeles, did you meet a lot of celebrities? And I'm like, no. I was like, and to me it was like, in the area that I grew up, celebrities were not there. They had no business being there, I did have encounters to some people. I saw people from afar. I knew people that like worked where like the industry was, where they did see people. But I guess the perception for people then thought that we just see them everywhere. And it's like, no, we don't really see them everywhere.
Did you ever go to, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a touristy thing, not like a local thing, to go to the Hollywood Walk or anything like that?
Yeah, no, that's a definitely tourist thing. The only times we would go is like if we had friends from out of state visiting us, we'll take them to the tourist spot. But no, that's not anywhere we'd go. And it was definitely like a day thing. Like, you don't definitely want to go there at night, because at night, that's where things are not great,
What would people do for fun and entertainment in where you were at, as far as California, like daily life for y'all? Where would y'all go?
Like I said, a lot of walking around. I used to roller skate a lot. So roller skating, going to parks, like the parks were a lot more accessible. Once in a while, like during summer, we'd go to the beach. It just felt more active. But I feel like what I remember, it's a lot of walking around. Like, just walk over there and you'll eventually like hit a park or hit a skate park, and then you'll have something.
All right. Why did your family decide to come to Texas? I mean, I know a lot of expensive California could be. That's one of the many reasons why people move over here. I don't know, maybe there was more opportunities for your parents to, maybe they thought it was not getting too safe over there and they want to keep you safe, and maybe Texas with the cows will be a lot safer. Do you remember why y'all decided to make the move here?
Yeah. So at that time, my dad used to work at a light production company.
Oh, wow.
So he used to fix like commercial lights, like the lights that you use for commercials and music videos and all of that. But unfortunately, that company was being sold out. And so when the person that bought the company cleaned house, and so they let everyone go. And so my dad was like, without the salary, like, we really can't afford here. So we're going to have to like maybe go out of California and find somewhere else. And he actually had family here in Texas. And he was like, yeah, houses are this much. And he's like, huh? And he's there like, yeah. And so he made the decision. I was like, well, let's go ahead and move. But before that, we had gone to Utah because we had family friends there. And they were like, well, maybe we should try Utah. But it was a no for my mom because my mom can't do the cold. Like, we visit during the summer and during the winter. And since it snows there, she's like, yeah, we're not doing this.
How was Utah for you? I hear it's beautiful. I don't know where area you were at. How did it feel for you to visit some, I don't know, cold place, not accustomed to like the nice tropical weather, I guess you can say, in California?
Yeah, we were in Salt Lake City, and yeah, it was very beautiful. The mountains there, I'm like, wow, I can stare at this all day. Like, the mountains were really pretty. The summer was pretty hot, but yeah, the winter, I like the snow. I was like, whoa, this is what snow feels like. This is what we can do, just having like the experience of snow. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I thought all of it was cool because we were there for like a week or two until I realized, oh no, you got to shovel snow.
Oh, yeah.
You got to shovel snow.
Nobody comes and does it for you. Well, people do, but yeah, for the most part, they don't.
And then when it's not snowing and it's just still, it's really cold. And I'm like, maybe my mom is right. Maybe the snow is not for us.
So would you be more of a beach person or a mountain person?
No, I'm more of a beach person.
Yeah, I definitely see that. They say it's healing. I believe it too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so bien rebelde, 17-year-old, angry, cooking, pasteles, crafting. I guess you maybe didn't realize that you were maybe crafting your craft during at that time. Just working on it, consistently putting hours on the cake. Did that thought cross your mind? I'm like, oh, I'm working on a craft that maybe is gonna later on do something for me at all?
No, I was more into the moment of like, okay, what can I make? What can I create? I was like, what flavors can I combine that's gonna taste really good? But no, I never thought of like, now that you mentioned it, now I was like, you know what, you are right. I was crafting into something.
Medical school. So you start journeying into medical school. Is it because of pressure from your parents to, porque tienes que ir a la escuela, you have to do something for yourself? Or is it something that kind of sort of really did draw your attention to, maybe I can do this for a living?
It was all pressures from my parents. So my mom, I have 3 brothers and I have one younger brother. And me and that younger brother are 11 years apart. So I remember my mom's pregnancy.
Are you the oldest?
No, I'm like in the middle. I have 2 older ones and then me.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Can't do math.
And so unfortunately, my mom had to be hospitalized during when she was like 5 months pregnant of my brother. And so we would visit her at the hospital every day. So she was there until like she gave birth. And so my dad asks a lot of questions. Like he's just a person that asks a lot of questions. So he started asking the nurses that would come in. He's like, so how long did it take you for go to school? ¿Y cuánto haces? ¿Y cuánto trabajas? Y like all of this. And so when the nurses would tell him that, he was like, yep, eso es lo que tú vas a hacer. And so my mom always wanted to be a nurse. And then my dad saw like it's stable, it's financially stable, that's what you're going to do. So they're both told me, they're like, you're going to go to school to become a registered nurse. No ands, ifs, or buts. That's what you're doing. And of course, in me already, I was like, but that's not what I want to do. I was like, yes, it's great. I can, help people. I'm like, but that's not what I want to do.
Was it the cakes that was in the back of your mind to do as a profession, as a living? Or was there any other thing that you kind of sort of found that you kind of wanted to do instead?
No, it was always the cakes.
It's always the cakes. Okay. You go to school. Did you finish the studies, become a LVN or the registered nurse? Any of those? RN?
No, I did go to school. I
Mhm.
did go to community college to take all like the prerequisites and everything. And it was until I kept failing the anatomy and physiology class, and it was
Mhm.
my third time taking it.
Mm.
And in that class, that's when I realized I'm like, I'm not paying attention. Because at that time I was just like doodling bakery names, and I was just, my mind was just not in it. And that's when I realized I'm like, why am I going to continue this? Why am I going to fail this again?
Keep paying.
And keep paying to fail, basically, is what I was doing. I was like, why am I continuing to paying this just to fail it? I was like, I'm not paying attention clearly. I was like, this is not what I want to do. I was like, I am so sorry, but I stop here. This is my journey of this, and I stop it right here because I'm not gonna continue pursuing it.
In the pursuit of your dreams, you decide to go into high-end restaurants. I don't know which was the first restaurant, but you can take me down that journey. What was the first restaurant, and then eventually make it into high-end restaurants? How did that go?
So actually, it was a bakery first.
Okay, bakery.
So by my mid to like late 20s, I start working at Susie Cakes.
How do you find that opportunity? Here in Texas or Rowlett?
No, here in Texas.
Or where? At what town or city?
I started working at the one in Plano, but unfortunately, I know after COVID, that location closed down.
So how did you find the opportunity to want to do? Of course, it's your dream to be able to at least be around cakes at that moment at time. But how did you find it?
I was just looking for it. I was looking for a job. At that time, I was working at a bank as a teller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I was like, I can't work at this bank being a teller forever either. I was like, I really have to. And it was very much like, okay, girl, I like, talking to myself. I was like, if we're going to do this, like, you really need to step in and doing it. So I go on Indeed and I'm looking. And then, I see Susie Cakes, and then, looking for like somebody, which is called front of the house, which is somebody like customer service. And I'm like, I feel like I can do that. And of course, they were looking for also people like the back of the house, which is like the people that are prepping and, decorating. But I had no experience. And I was like, well.
Yeah, you did? What you mean? 17 years old. No, 7 years old to 17 cooking cakes at the house, giving the shape shit. What do you mean? You didn't put that in your resume?
No, I should have. But I was like, well, if I can just work as like the front of the house first and then make it to the back of the house.
Sneak to the back.
Yeah, sneak to the back. I was like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I applied, got a call, got the interview. And yeah, my manager, Stephanie, she's like, yeah, you're in. And I was like, oh, I'm in. And so that started from like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and be front of the house. I eventually ended up being assistant general manager. And I was like, okay, great. But now I was like, I know everything for the front. I was like, let's go to the back. And so at that time, there was just a lot of going on. So it was just like, no, I think you should stay to the front of the house. Like, there's not really back of the house, but like, we'll let you like do little things here and there. And I was okay with the little things in here and there, which was like decorating cookies, writing happy birthday on cakes. But it's like, no es suficiente, quiero más.
Were you sneaking to the back and helping without people knowing that you were helping, or maybe cooking when you were not supposed to at all?
I will be in the back seeing how they do things, when people weren't looking.
Taking notes.
Oh, okay, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm like, oh, And some of the girls knew that. So like, people like the other managers will come. They'll act, they're like, oh, so then when we do this, and I'm like,
that's dope.
Yeah, I was like, you guys
that's
got
dope.
me.
So they were like giving you, not only encourage you, but giving you the step-by-steps without kind of telling you that you were doing the step-by-steps.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move forward, let's pause right there for a second. Let's backtrack a little bit. You have to have a hard conversation with your parents that you tell them you're not going to do it. And I'm pretty sure you're living at the house with them still, right?
Mm.
Is your mom's eventually some type of dream that she had she never completed? Your dad saw the money and security of making the money with the nursing, but you just kept not moving forward because you're just not passing the classes. How does that go for you?
Ooh, rough.
Especially being Mexicana, right? Your parents are, of course, all you have from Mexico.
Mm-hmm. It was rough. My dad was like, okay, si quieres sufrir, sufre. That's how he like kind of like took it. And my mom just stopped talking to me completely.
Ouch. I'm very sorry to hear, but right before that, there's that moment of time where you go into your head and I'm like, oh my God, ¿cómo le voy a decir? Like, I have to do something nice first and then before I deliver the bad news. What was your nice thing that you did? And where did you gather the courage to just say, you know what, I have to do this?
I cleaned the house.
Yeah.
I cleaned the house. I cleaned the kitchen. I made sure that my little brother was fed.
We're always prepping for that.
Yeah.
Even before we asked to go out.
Yeah, everything. I cleaned my room. I made sure I cleaned my room. I made sure that the bathroom that I used was clean. Like, I made sure everything was clean. I made sure everything was clean. And that's when I told them, I was like, hey. And at first they thought like, no puede salir. And I was like, no, it's not that, And I told them, I was like, estoy pensando mucho de mi futuro y estoy decidiendo que no voy a ser enfermera. And they're like, ¿y por qué no? Why not? And I was like, es que no lo quiero hacer. No lo quiero hacer. I was like, esta clase le voy a tomar, like, va a ser mi tercer vez que voy a tomar esta clase. And I'm like, y no lo quiero hacer. I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. And yeah, my mom didn't say anything. She stood quiet and didn't talk to me for like a month. And yeah, my dad was just like, well, si quieres sufrir, entonces vas a sufrir.
Where'd you find the courage, though, to want to just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid and tell them?
I think it was because I had already, I don't know how to say it, like, I had already dropped the class.
You already dropped out.
I had already dropped out.
You were driving. Let me find out you were going out, leaving in the morning, supposed to be to go to class, and you weren't even going to class. You were probably hanging out at the park or with the homies.
Yeah, I was not in class at all. And I had already dropped out, and I was like, I gotta tell them. Because then me van a preguntar, ¿y cómo va la clase? ¿Y cuánto tienes de deber? And I was like, I gotta do it now before they start asking me all the big questions.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I had to. Yeah, I had to. I was like, all right, it's been like 3 weeks that I've dropped the class. Like, I gotta tell them.
Dang, 3 weeks. Wow. There's a lot of battles in your head as far as like, what if they know? What if they find out? So when they ask, how's it going? ¿Qué decías?
Va bien.
Hilarious. Okay. So, I mean, but you become a banker, like a teller. It's pretty all right job for Mexicanos,
Yeah.
As far as like doing that job. How did they feel about you landed that job?
Then they wanted me to pursue a career in finance. And they're like, okay, well, that's just the teller. Or like, what if, like, you're actually an actual banker, or like you actually go ahead and do that? And I was like, no, that's not going to help.
I've seen a pattern from your parents, and it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Because they, like, as soon as they see something, they want you to dive in to get the most out of that opportunity, whenever they're asking the nurse, and the most you can get out of it, finance it. Where else can you take this? Where do they get that from? Do you ever consider that or ponder why do they think that they see that and all of a sudden they want you just to keep going forward more? Because I don't know if your parents were go-getters, if they're entrepreneurs at all whatsoever, but it seemed like for you, they just want high expectations to go to the moon and back when it comes to like career paths.
Yeah, I think it was from their upbringing, because I know they didn't live the greatest childhood, very poor childhood. So I think it was like, for them, is like, if I had the opportunity you have, oh my God, I'd be doing this, because that was something I would hear my mom say a lot to me.
Si yo supiera inglés, ya dominaría el mundo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was like, they saw the opportunities I had, that they saw that, I living in this country, you have a lot of opportunities. Like, you need to take them. Whatever it is, you need to take them, because, just like a lot of immigrant parents, they get sold the American dream. You become here, you go to college, you have a career, you buy the house, you settle down. It's the dream that was sold to them. So it's like, you have it, like, do something with it, So I think it was just the upbringing of that, and seeing how much opportunity it is here in the United States versus like in Mexico, that there was at that time, or at the time of their upbringing, there wasn't really much. Okay,
I forgot to ask if it's okay if you want to move on to the question, you can't. But how was the legal status for your parents? And then was it something that they already had applied and they gotten, or they had to go through a process to get that and eventually get you the right way también?
Yeah, so I did earlier. I'm gonna backtrack. I did say that both my parents are Mexican, but I'm just saying that to say yes. But actually, my stepdad's actually from Guatemala, and he got with my mom. And so whenever they were doing their taxes, the tax lady had, mentioned like, hey, have you guys ever, because it was like taxes. And then it was like a super small office in Los Angeles where they did kind of a little bit of everything, like inmigración and taxes. And so whenever they filled up their taxes, they had asked my parents, well, specifically like my stepdad, he was just like, I mean, I consider him my dad. He, he raised me, but he had asked my dad, like, have you ever considered of like, poniendo tus papeles because you're from Guatemala, and like it'd be easier for you because I believe it's like the asylum. And he's like, no, not really. And then my mom's like nudging him like, hey, you know what? You should. And then the tax lady was also, she's like, yeah, she's like, if you guys are planning to get, because they were just together, she's like, but if you guys are planning to get married, if you have your papers, you can add a spouse and you can add kids. And he's like, yeah. She goes, and plus, if you get married with someone who has kids, like you could also claim them on your taxes and you can get this much money back returned.
Ching, ching, baby.
So yeah, they're like, okay, yeah. So that's how it started. My stepdad ended up doing the process of that, getting my mom, and then with my mom getting us into it too.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It was a little personal, but I appreciate you because depending on my people might not know that at that time asylum was a thing. Other people were like, for example, the amnesty in 85 that I benefited from when my dad applied because I came in todo illegal. I'm good now. Don't come after me.
Yeah, same here.
Yo, hear my very strong opinions on that. Okay, so now you're trying to get to the back of the house. You're getting little hints in here and there about maybe you can. Did you ever make it to the back of the house at the restaurant or the bakery or no?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. So I'm like, you know what? I was like, I appreciate all the help that you guys have given me here. Everything's great. But I want more. And so I'm going to apply to another bakery where I can work in the back of the house. And so I did apply to another bakery. I got the job because I had the experience at working at a bakery. And even though they wanted to put me at the front of the house, I was like, no. I was like, I want to be back of the house. And so I started working at that bakery. And I finally was able to like decorate the cakes and the cupcakes and cake pops and everything else. And I was like, oh, yes, like I'm doing it. I'm finally here.
Take me back to the moment when they told you, yes, you're going to be working in the back of the house. How did it feel for you?
Oh my God, it felt great. It felt amazing. It felt like I was like, yes, finally. Like I'm finally here. Like this is going to work out.
Okay. So now you get into it, start diving. Do you kind of sort of find it natural for you to be, or are you finding a lot more? Because a box is just a box with all the instructions on it, everything measured, already done for you. But now you have to have from scratch to the measurements being accurate, depending on you're measuring, or if you're weighing, to the butter temperature, room temperature, and all those other things that there are about baking that I just found out just a second ago. But I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Take me to that journey for you.
Yeah. So at that time when I was at Susie Cakes, actually, I was going to school, but I was going for culinary arts. So that also helped me a lot. And that's when I realized I was like, okay, cool. I could definitely do back of the house, and yes, you're completely right. Like reading the instructions from something that's already pre-made, it's easy. But finally just following a step-by-step recipe, that does get difficult because even if you mess up 2 grams of baking soda versus 2 grams of baking powder, that's it. Your stuff is done and you have to restart it again.
That's how precise you have to be. That's like literally precise, even to the temperatures, right?
Even to the temperatures.
Was that like completely foreign to you at all whatsoever? Do you thought maybe como nosotros somos like, you just put ahí, whatever the spirits say. That didn't work with cakes, right? No,
that didn't work with cakes. That did not work with the cakes. Yeah.
How quickly did you find that out? In school or actually in practice?
In practice. In practice, that's what I found out. I was like, that doesn't seem like there's a lot. So maybe if I just put a little bit more. Or no, it was actually, I was like, oh, that actually needed to be baking soda. Yeah, I'll be fine. No, it was not
Lego.
I was like, oh.
What did it do?
It puffed it up over the pan.
So too much.
It was too much. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired. And then like the owner came back. He's like, what happened? So I told him, I was like, hey, I thought it was going to be okay. I switched baking powder, baking soda. I'm so sorry. He's like, okay. He goes, well, let that cool off and we'll just turn those into cake pops and sell them tomorrow. He goes, start again.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, so I'm not fired. In my head, I was like, so I'm not fired. Oh, cool. Okay. Okay. I was like, and then I hyped myself up. I was like, okay, next time, ponte lista. Like, don't just put anything in there, you know?
Yeah. So what kind of, is it the high-end one that you're making cakes right here on this one? What's the name of it, by the way?
This one was called Tart Bakery.
Tart Bakery.
Yeah. And same thing, unfortunately, for COVID, they're no longer open. But from Tart Bakery, great bakery, great owner. He was just very disorganized. And it came to during Mardi Gras, he was selling, like, we were selling king cakes. And he left me by myself on a Saturday with, like, I believe it was like 10 orders of king cakes that were not made and were not decorated. And they were they had to be starting being picked up by 10 a.m. I was like, it's 7. I was like, I can't do all of this. And they only had one girl that only did part-time for front of the house. So she was like customer service. And it was just me and her. And I was like, hey, girl, you're going to have to help me out. I was like, because I can't do all of this. And she's like, okay. She's like, well, I'll contact them. Le llamaron, didn't pick up. You know, I texted him. I was like, hey, like, you know, all these cakes are not here. It was just a mess. And it wasn't the first time he did that. And so, like, I spoke my concerns about it, and no hizo nada. And I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
So what happened at that time? Were you able to get any of them done at all? And y los que le tocó, and the ones that didn't, pues,
yeah, it was that. And so I know they were mad at the next day, but I was like, there was no cakes, you know, and I needed to have like at least 10, 11 cakes. And I was like, I came at 7 a.m. I was like, and the first pickup was like at 10. I was like, there's just no way. Yeah. I'm like, that's impossible.
Wow. Okay. So you leave that opportunity. Take me back to when you decide to make the COVID decision to be able to want to start your business. I don't know if you're already married or you have a baby, but you decided we fast forward a little bit. No, actually, I want to talk about the high-end restaurant because I think you walked to one. Well, okay. Let me back to it because I'm all over the place right now. At this particular bakery, what did you learn the most? What was the most valuable lesson that you learned about this last one with that gentleman? What is it that you were picking up that you actually still use to this day?
Actually, to stay organized.
Okay.
Or an organizing method, and to have all your recipes organized, because I realized that he would just pick recipes out the internet and be like, here you go, let's try it out. And I'm like, just like that? I was like, that's very bold. I'm like, but, you know, people are actually paying for this.
Yeah.
Si no sale bien, pues qué pasa? You're still going to sell it to people?
Yeah.
And that to me didn't sit right, because it's like, you're making, you know, cakes for special events, birthdays, baby showers, weddings, lo que sea, you know? I was like, you don't want to just, you know, throw something and be like, here you go. I was like, no, that's special. Like, people are going to eat it, enjoy it, come together, remember it. And I'm like, no. But the important lesson is staying organized and keeping your inventory low.
So some people might not be concerned about what the expectations of the people are or how special a cake is. Where does that come from you? Where did you see that as far as being a thing that it's very important to address and take care of, because it's a very special moment for them. It's not just a cake.
Yeah. Growing up, my mom made it a big deal for having birthday parties. You know, even growing up, even though we didn't have much, she always made sure that she would save enough money for us to have a birthday party. And it's like, tu cumpleaños es importante. And because my grandma used to do that, same thing, like she, you know, didn't grow up with much, but my grandma always made sure that everyone had a birthday party, you know, and it was special. So seeing my mom, that she, you know, saved money, make sure that it, you know, got the cake that we wanted and make it special. That's what it made me special. I was like, so I love celebrating birthdays.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, you know, someone worked hard to get this cake. And it's not just a cake, you know, it's a cake for someone that they love very much. And so that's what really got me into, like, I just don't want to sell cakes to sell them, you know, or even if they don't come out right, I was like, I don't want to give that to you, because you're giving that to someone special.
Yeah, true that. Absolutely. So you see the chaos and all this stuff with this gentleman. So you decide to move on. Let's fast forward to the high-end restaurant. How does the opportunity come about to you? Is it cake related, or is it just food related, or are you going to be working on the pastry? So how did that work for you?
Yeah, actually, after that Mardi Gras event, I was like, yeah, I'm looking for another job. And so I saw that they had an opening for Nobu. And I started getting imposter syndrome. I was like, well, they're not going to hire me. I was like, I don't have, that experience. And I was like, and I looked at it and I was like, I'm not going to apply. And then it was lingering in my head. And like 3 days later, I go back to the post and it's still there. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I can cuss here, but
sure.
Okay. I said, fuck it. Let me apply, And so I did. I sent my resume and then I got a call back and then I got an interview and then I got hired. Wow. And I was like, when the chef there was like, he's like, okay. He goes, okay, mija, ¿cuándo puedes empezar? And I was just like, I was like, whoa, like for real? In my head, I was just like, no, yeah, puedo empezar mañana, But in my head, I was like, whoa, for real? Like, that's it? Like, I got the job? And that was very surreal. So that starts into the high end because now it's like intricate desserts. And now we're having like a specific flavor combination because Nobu is Japanese, but with a lot of like Peruvian inspired ingredients.
Right.
So that's really where my imagination and my creativity just blew up because I was now experiencing different flavors. I wasn't doing your chocolate vanilla, strawberry. Now I'm over here doing like matcha chocolates. I had the miso espresso, and so, or matcha ice cream. And I was like, whoa. Or it was the first time I did like a flourless chocolate cake.
Flourless chocolate cake?
Mm-hmm.
How did you do that? How do you do that with?
Potato starch.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Tempering chocolate, making chocolate labels. That was the best.
Did you feel like you were in paradise?
I did. Every day I would go to work happy. And of course, it's a service, so it's just like any other job. You're going to find people that you don't get along with. You're going to find customers that, pick at stuff. But besides that, I loved going to work. I was like, okay, cool. Like, what else can we do? What else is it? I was writing happy birthdays on plates with chocolate, happy anniversaries, and it was the best.
For the imposter syndrome, for the doubt, even though you saw it and you've been doing it for some time, why did you think it just came in your head that you're maybe not good enough to be able to get in there?
Just because I was lacking, I felt like I was lacking experience. I was like, no, this is like for people. Because I just saw pastry cook. I went over my head. I was like, oh, they want a pastry chef. No, they just want the cook. They already had a pastry chef. But that to me, I was like, well, pastry cook sounds so, so above. And I was like, am I a pastry cook? Can I do that? And I think that was seeing the word pastry cook I think that's what threw me off.
What did you consider yourself at that time? Cake maker?
Yeah, just a cake maker.
Yeah. So it was a different level.
Yeah, it was a different level.
Okay. So now that you're working on it, getting all the experience, you're seeing that you can mix fusions of Latino into Asian and all that. You take a leap of faith of starting your business right after COVID?
Yeah, it was right after COVID. So from Nobu, I went to Park House, which was another high-end restaurant. And then from there, that's when I found out I was pregnant. I was like, oh, okay. Baby was a surprise. And I was like, okay. I worked through I worked up till I was 8 months pregnant. Mm-hmm. And it was because my plan was to work till the baby was here,
They're not delivering only cakes, delivering baby stuff. Yeah.
The only thing was that a lot of people, like a lot of the front of the house people were getting COVID. They're like, oh, so-and-so's out because they tested positive for COVID. And it was every other day. And since COVID was so new and I was pregnant, I was like, I'm sorry, but this is a risk that I'm not willing to take. Yeah. Like, I don't want to get COVID while being pregnant. Like, what's that going to happen to me? Yeah. What's that going to happen to my baby? So I told the chefs that I was working with, I was like, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm very grateful. I was like, but I do have to watch out for myself and the health of my baby. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to take my pregnancy leave earlier than expected. all of them were dads. So they're like, yeah, that's cool. Just let us know when you're ready to come back. I was supposed to come back. I was due at the end of September, but I ended up having my baby in October.
In 2020?
In 2020. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to come back mid-January of 2021. Unfortunately, my baby got hospitalized for a week, and that threw me off. And I was like, I don't think I can go to work. I was like, if he got sick under my care, what if he gets sick under someone else's care? ¿Y después qué hago? Mm-hmm. So by like the first week of January, I messaged the chefs I was working with, mm-hmm. and, I let them know. I was like, got a scare. I was like, I don't, once again, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I was like, but I don't think I will come back after my pregnancy leave. And they were okay with it. They're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. We understand and everything. And from that's where I was in the moment of like, okay, I don't want to give up on my career because I've come this far of my career. I was like, but I don't want to leave my baby just to anyone for them to watch them. Mm-hmm. ¿Qué hago? And then I was like, why don't I just make cakes out of my house? I was like, I know how to do it. I was like, I know all the safety and sanitation rules. I would literally treat my kitchen as a kitchen that I was working in. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of how that started. Once my baby was, I want to say like 4 or 5 months, I was like, okay, let me go ahead and just start telling people, hey, I make cakes if you need a cake.
Okay, so are any of those names that you're sketching, doodling in your medical classes, is that one of the winners as far as the name of your company, Pasteles Y Más? Or where does it come from? Why Pasteles Y Más? I mean, it's only obvious, right? It's pasteles, right? Yeah. You make cakes, but Pasteles Y Más. What is the inspiration behind the name?
Yeah. So actually, my first doodle name came out was C is for cakes, because I just thought that was so cool.
C is for cakes.
Yeah, because they're like, A is for apple, B is for ball, D is for dog, like C is for cakes.
Oh, nice.
And so I started as that, and just...
So that was the actual...
That was the actual name. I was like, I wrote it years ago on my notebook. It's finally
manifesting
here. Yeah, manifesting it. It's finally here.
Yeah.
But as I'm going through it, and then I just like, it kind of like hit like a rut where I was like, you know what? I am no longer C is for cakes. I have outgrown that name. I don't feel that name is no longer for me. Mm-hmm. This menu is no longer for me. I was like, let's rebrand. And I wanted to rebrand more of focusing on Mexican American flavors, because that's what I grew up, eating both Mexican candy and American candy. I was like, I don't want to just focus on cakes, but I don't just want to focus on desserts. I was like, I want to do both. I was like, but I want to show a name that's very like en español, bien mexicano. I was like, ooh, what can I do? And so I was just kind of like brainstorming, and I was just like, pasteles. I'm like, that's not a hard word to pronounce for people that don't speak Spanish. I was like, because at first it was pasteles and more. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue. And I was like, why don't you just make it all in Spanish? Pasteles Y Más. And I'm like, well, I like the way that sounds. And I said it a couple of more times, and I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, this is the name.
Okay. Before we move forward to all your menu, okay, C for cakes. You put it on social media. I know you're telling everybody, but of course, family, close friends, and anything like that. But who else are you telling? Are you creating social media, Facebook? I don't know what else was there at that time. But how are you spreading the word about that you're doing cakes now?
Yeah, it was Facebook and Instagram. That's how I started, Facebook and Instagram. So I did a Facebook page, I did an Instagram page, and then I still had like my personal page. So I would like, share it on my personal page, and then I'd be like, hey, I think Facebook still has that feature where like you can like, invite your friends list. Yeah. And it literally just sends an invite for everybody. I did that. Mm-hmm. And then when people weren't replying back, I did it again. I was like, maybe they didn't see it.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the word out with my pasteles, my cakes.
Yeah. I was like, maybe they didn't see it. Or maybe they don't know it's me. So like, I will resend it again, and or like for specific people, I'm like, hey, by the way, that's me, just, if you could add the page or like the page, that'd be really nice.
Make the grand announcement. Hey guys, I started a page. See for cakes. Like it.
Yeah.
It's me. It's not spam.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so how long does C for Cakes last before you start moving into what you're currently doing, the menu that you offer?
Let me see. C for Cakes, I want to say 2021 or 2026. I want to say 2 years. 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Yeah.
Strong wrong for Seaford Cakes.
Yeah.
Is doing his thing. People are people. How did you feel about your first order? Who was the first order? And how did you feel about getting an order that you have to fulfill for a customer?
Yeah. My first order was just a stranger. They're like, I saw your cakes. They look great. You know, I want to do an order. Because at first I was just family and friends, you know.
Well, you already capturing pictures and
yeah.
Okay.
I was already like capturing pictures, posting them, you know, trying to like make anything content at that time. And so when I got like my first order from a stranger, I was like, oh, you don't know anybody that I know? Like, you're not a word of mouth. You just found me. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, someone actually wants to order my cake.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, you know. And like, I remember by working in front of the House of Susie Cakes, I already knew all the questions to ask. You know, how many servings? What are you celebrating? You know, what flavor do you want? So all of that experience came into that. And so I did that. She let me know. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, you know, I was like, you know, you could pick up or I could deliver. And a lot of the first ones were delivering. And because it was really the imposter syndrome, or I just wanted to make it like be great, I wasn't charging a delivery fee. So I'll be like, yeah, I can deliver you for free. And they're like, okay. And I delivered it. And then they took it. They're like, thank you. And then they closed the door. And I was like, okay.
That's it.
And I'm like, that's it.
Okay, in your mind, as you're going through delivering the cake, what do you feel like it's going to be like? They're gonna greet you with fireworks, warm embrace, or qué cosa?
No, not that, but just giving them that and just be like, okay, you know, like I finally did it. But then on my driving back, I was like, what if it didn't come out like they wanted to? What if it doesn't taste like they think it's gonna come to? What if they tell me it's horrible and it's the worst thing they've ever eaten?
Don't worry, the comments will let you know.
Yeah.
Immediately they go in there and they're like, "She is horrible. This thing is not even close. I asked for strawberry, I got vanilla."
Yeah.
But no, nada pasó.
No, nada pasó.
That's good, right?
Yeah. Then I was like, okay.
No good. No news is good news, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And you're driving, you're excited at least a little bit that you got your first cell from a stranger.
Yeah, myself from a stranger. Yeah, I was super excited.
Yeah. After that, you get more motivated to start pumping more cakes out, talking to more people. I don't know if you started networking or any of those things, or you just continually posting on Facebook and things like the Instagram to be able to get more visibility, more people to ask about your product.
Yeah, I definitely started to just, you know, follow a lot more vendors. So I was like, okay, well, what do I want to do? I was like, wedding cakes, you know, people are, you know, their budget's a little higher. I was like, okay, what can I do to start going into that weddings, you know? And so Facebook has groups of like wedding vendors, like, oh, I'm looking for, you know, whatever vendor that they are for that wedding. So I started joining those groups. And any post, they're like, oh, looking for someone that makes a cake. I'd automatically just be like, me, I make cakes. Here it is. Da, da, da. And, you know, learning and discovering network groups. And I was like, oh, okay, what is that? What do you do? And so, and at that time, there was a lot of open houses for new venues that were coming out. So they would do like an open house and be like, oh, we need vendors to be here that are willing to work with us in the venue and all of that. And so I would sign up for that. And then I'll go and take my little mesa and then, you know, have samples and be like, yeah, this is what I can do. And this is what I offer. And any opportunities that came like that, I was ready to jump in. And then later on, that's when markets really started to happen. And I was like, okay, cool. Me voy a meter a cualquier market that I can to do that. So that's kind of like what I wanted to do, because I was like, well, markets are great because people actually get to taste my product.
Right.
And from there, you know, maybe I can get a lead for like, oh, this was so great. You know, do you have like availability?
It'll be like a pay sampling that could lead to a potential customer for cakes later down the line.
Yeah.
That was your mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you outgrew the name and the menu that you do because you start infusing different things. Because you have gansito, you have Bubu Lubu, you have all those candies that I kind of grew up with, incorporating cakes, los sabores, like you said, Mexican American flavors. Is that kind of sort of the idea of making those type of cakes for you? And you realize that maybe this cake's a little too simpler and I'm going to morph into something even bigger. Is that kind of sort of how it happened, or walk me through that?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I was like, I wanted to start to stand out because at that time, also a lot of more people that were making cakes and desserts. And, it's great. But I started seeing the trend. I was like, it's a lot of similar flavors. Vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, red velvet.
Red velvet.
And I was like, okay, nothing against those flavors. Those are great flavors, very classic.
Yeah,
I was like, but I want to be different. I want to offer different flavors because I remember by working at Nobu and Park House, all the different flavors that were in just one small dessert. And I was like, okay, how can I infuse flavors like that, flavors and textures into cakes? And that's kind of why I was like, well, asking myself, what exactly flavors are that? What are we doing here, girlfriend? Like, what's going on? And I was like, well, I love candy. I grew up eating candy. I grew up eating pan dulce. I'm like, what if I take those candies, like Mexican candies and American candies, because of course I love Bubu Lubu, but I also like Kit Kats. I was like, what is it that I can go ahead and combine those two flavors into that? And that's kind of what I did with my Bubu Lubu cake. I was like, it's chocolate, marshmallow, strawberry. I was like, now, I feel like the Bubu Lubus now don't taste like the ones back then.
They probably don't. They probably don't.
But I was like, and I went to go buy one. I was like, let me remember how a Bubu Lubu tastes like. And then I ate one. I was like, well, it doesn't taste like what it tastes back then. I was like, but I do remember. And I was looking at it. I was like, it's chocolate, marshmallow, strawberry. I'm like, I can do that. I was like, but I could do that better and more elevated. And that's kind of what I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do. I was like, I want to go ahead and bring the sweets of my childhood into these cakes.
Yeah. Amazing idea. So walk me through the menu of all the things that you offer these days. Of course, you have those infused. You have a particular name for that as far as that style of cake or those type of flavors of cakes?
No, I just have names. So the Bubu Lubu is literally just called Bubu Lubu because that's the flavors are. I did make a mixed berry cake, and that one's inspired of my stepdad because his when we were growing up for our birthday cakes, it was most like, I would say, the grown-ups, they used to get a lot of tarts, like fruit tarts.
Wow.
That was like their thing. And we would go to Whole Foods and get, because they're like, oh, it's our birthday, like we're gonna spend a little bit more money on us. Yeah. We're the adults.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they would get fruit tarts, and just remembering the sweet fruits, like especially like the strawberries and the blueberries and the kiwi. And I'm like, I can make that into a cake. So the mixed berry cake is actually inspired from my stepdad wanting fruit tarts for his birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. The lemon drop cake is actually for me because that's my favorite cake flavor is lemon. And I was like, but when I want something lemon, I was like, yo quiero que sepa limón. Like even with food.
Not a hint of it. Quiero que sepa limón.
Yeah, que sea limón. And so I made that one, which is a lemon cake, lemon cream cheese mascarpone filling, and lemon buttercream. So it's lemon on lemon. And when my mom tasted that cake, she's like, this one used to taste like the lemon cake that we used to get at Olive Garden. And that never clicked to me. And, I remember one birthday we went to the Olive Garden and I got that cake and I was like, this cake is so good. And I was like, oh, that was like a little hidden memory that I didn't even know that this cake flavor came out.
Wow. Memory unlocked.
Yeah, memory unlocked.
Nice. As far as the, okay, so cakes, macaroons, do you do, what else?
Conchitas.
Conchitas. Is it a fusion of conchitas también? Or is there a particular kind of conchitas también that you make? Because, now they got the matcha conchas and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Giant conchas, little conchas, mini conchas, depending.
For the conchas flavors, I just wanted to keep it very simple. But what I wanted to do is make them smaller. Because growing up and going to the panaderia, the conchas are huge, And I remember my mom just being like, well, yo no me quiero comer toda una concha. Like, hay que compartir.
Sí.
And so I would remember, that made me feel like, well, what if I just make them smaller? What if I just make them smaller? That way people feel, one, less guilty of eating a big concha, or two, where people have kids where like, well, I don't want them to eat. Either I don't want them to eat a big concha or they're not going to eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that was, I think, my take on it was just to make them smaller.
That's awesome. And then, of course, you have the website, Pasteles Y Más. If anybody was to look, very lovely website. You can learn more about you there because that's where I found some information about you. She's like, where do you know all this stuff? Well, your website. It says right there about Jenny.
Yeah.
So the website, some people, depending on who you are, depending on the business, sometimes they feel like it's a good investment. Sometimes people feel like maybe I'm not the time. So in that time of, because the things that you do are very professional. Before I get to the website, how much trial and error was it to get the Bubu Lubu and all the cakes that you have? Because again, precision, the measurement. I don't know if you weighed the stuff or you measured the things. Sometimes people, depending on who you're talking to, do either one. How much time did it take to perfect the cake that it was to the standard that you said, yeah, this is it right here?
I think it took me like 2 weeks.
The Bubu Lubu.
The Bubu Lubu, because I couldn't get the marshmallow frosting correctly. It kept on being flat. And I was like, by the third time, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and just throw everything out. I was like, I'm going to throw everything to the wall. But I was like, no, because this is an investment. And I'm like, what's wrong? I was like, why is it coming out flat? What am I doing wrong here? Mm-hmm. And so I started looking up. I looked up at my old school notes. I looked up at notes that I worked in other restaurants. Then I started looking up online. I'm like, why is it causing it to become flat? What am I doing wrong?
Right.
My bowl was dirty. And so when you're making meringue, you need to have a really, really clean bowl. Like meringue is very delicate. If you have any sort of grease or any other food particle in there,
residue,
no va a salir. You're going to be there whipping that forever and no va a salir. And so I started realizing, I was like, why would my bowl, why is it dirty? Why is there still residue? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, am I not washing my stuff right? Because I know I am. But it just wouldn't just fluff up. And I was like, okay. And then I read also like the egg whites, and I was like, okay. I was also being very impatient, and I was like, let me just start whipping up these egg whites right now. And it's like, no, you got to let them get at room temperature. And I was like, oh, there we go. I was like, the bowl's dirty. You got to let the egg whites be at room temperature. I was like, okay. So it took me like 2 weeks to go ahead and perfect that. Not only because of the marshmallow fluff, but also the balance of the flavors. How much did I want to? At one point, I put too much marshmallow. I was like, all we do is taste this chocolate and marshmallow. Where's the strawberry? I did the strawberries a little too sweet. I was like, te vas a empalagar, not happening. So it just took me time to like, okay, I ate everything. I was like, oh, great. You taste the chocolate cake. You taste the marshmallow fluff, and the strawberry compote is not as sweet. I was like, okay, now we're good.
2 weeks. It's crazy. You're like literally on the lab measuring me. Again, I would never think that room temperature anything will make a difference when you're baking, but it's a huge difference. Not only that, but without revealing all your secrets, is there a particular something that you put in there that little hint of something, even if it was a pinch of something like, oh, yeah, that made a big difference in this cake? Anything like that on the Bubu Lubu?
Not on the Bubu Lubu, but on my conchas, though.
Your conchas, you got a little something in there.
Something in there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know about that. Just a little pinch of something, whatever it could be, I'm not going to say anything to give a hint because I want to, respect the fact that it is a craft. It is your technique. It is something that you crafted. You can try it and try a million things if you want to, but it's pretty neat. For that particular concha of doing that little thing, where did it come from? The idea of putting this and it could kind of sort of elevate the flavors for you.
So when I made my first conchas, I was like, great, these taste good.
Good.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
Yes. I was like, these taste good. I was like, what can I change? What? And, conchas is just flour, sugar, yeast, butter, eggs, vanilla, right? And I was like, necesito algo más. I'm like, but what is it? And so I sat on it, and in my head, I'll be doing random things. Like I'll be washing the dishes, or, I'll be cleaning, or I'll be just, with my kiddo.
Light bulb.
Yep. It'd be a light bulb. And I was like, what if I try this? And I started looking up, but I was like, do these, can you do this? Would it change anything? And I'm like, I was like, okay, got it. Next time I make the conchas, I'm going to switch this to this, add this. I was like, let's see, a ver cómo sale. And then I did them, and I tasted them. I'm like, yep, there we go. That's it.
You'd be surprised. If y'all want to try her conchas and find out what she's talking about, go hit her up at pastelesymas.com. Pastelesymas.com where you'll be able to find it. But it's like, again, just by literally exploring like a couple minutes ago about a pinch of salt, dab of this, da-da-da. And all of a sudden it's just like, poof, it changes. Yeah. Just like baking soda, baking powder. Freaking huge difference. It's crazy.
It is. In order to remind myself which one I'm doing, I literally sing, and I got this from one of my old coworkers. It's that song. I don't even remember the song, but it's like baking soda. You got baking soda.
Oh,
I literally have to say that.
I'm in love with the cocoa.
There you go.
I'm in love with baking soda. I got baking soda.
So when I'm because my baking soda and my baking powder, they're like on top of each other. So I have to sing that part out loud for me, be like, okay, I got baking soda. Let's not mess this up.
That's a good technique. No, that's lovely. And also the temperature, like 1 minute over baking the cake or under baking the cake, it could be game changer. Like you could mess it up.
Yeah.
It's over.
That's more like for macarons. Oh my God. The first time.
Not so much for cakes?
Not so much for cakes, but for macarons, yes. Those are super, super delicate and time consuming. And yes, if you get those wrong, los quemas, if you get them wrong, you undercook them. And it's those things that you really have to like redo again. Like there's no saving them. Sometimes cakes have a leeway where like, okay, we could save it. This can be saved. No, macarons, they don't give you any mercy.
Yeah. También the timing, because like you said on the organizing part, you have to be organized because you have to be able to be very timely, cooling part to be able to then work on the cake to be able to do that, because it can't be too hot. You can't rush it because things will melt and go south for you, right?
Yeah.
So también also you have to incorporate all that, and specifically when you have a deadline to be able to meet it, deliver the cake, and out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so for people that want to book you, reach out to your product, find you, where can they go and get you at? We're running short on time. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up. Yeah. When you're coming over here, because I know you from Aida, and I've seen you out and about, and we work together in different events and stuff like that. Right now we're doing Latino nights every other Saturday at the Cabo Bar Oak Cliff, so come check us out. So whenever you're coming over here, you're like, I wish ask me about this, or I wish we talk about this more. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
No, I wasn't really sure what the questions were going to be asked. I also didn't know that you were going to have that information about me. I was like, yeah, how does he know that I used to work at high-end restaurants? But no, I think we covered everything.
What do you say? We're good. We're good. Yeah. We're good. We find all kinds of stuff. You'd be surprised what I know in a very short time. Okay, tell me about the, before we let you go, the business part in general, right? So it's crazy that what's his name? Steve Jobs has a great quote that sometimes looking forward, it doesn't make any sense to you, but looking backwards, it makes a lot of sense. Like you were going to this restaurant and you were learning about this. You were going into this other restaurant, realizing there's fusion. You were going into this restaurant, realizing they're organizing such a big deal, and then you can, be high under pressure to be able to do that. Did you ever realize all the things that you were learning were kind of sort of like morphing you, crafting you, getting you ready to have your own business, including the front end and the back end? Yeah.
Now looking at back, even further back, like my growing up. So my mom used to clean houses for a living in California, and some summers, like I would go and help her out, and she was actually prepping me to be very attentive, very attention to detail. Because she would give me like the small jobs, like, saca la basura, or, dust this, pasa la vacuum. And I remember one time we were at an apartment in West Hollywood, and this person had everything like, like his bookcase like that. Everything was very meticulous. And so mom was like, you're going to have to dust this. And she's like, pero cuando saques las cosas, recuérdate como van. And she's like, what you can do is like, saca las cosas primero, recuérdate como van, limpia, y regrésalas, y así. And so I was like, okay, I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention to the details because, this person wants this certain way, like I need to do it. Looking at that back, I was like, she literally just prepped me for that, because also part of, being a cake artist, being a pastry chef and everything is paying attention to the details, the textures, the colors, the flavors, people's allergies, people's, what in food restrictions. All of that. You have to take all of that in consideration. Yeah.
Even to include that you found at one time to learn how to make vegan options.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And that's another different type of monster to tackle, because there's no eggs. There's no
butter. There's no milk.
There's no milk.
Especially if you're vegan and gluten-free.
Oh, there's no gluten también, depende. So kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So all that kind of prepare you, even the front end, to be able to run, even the financing part, because you know a little bit about it. So, oh, nice. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Okay, before I let you go, one more time, where can people find you at? Of course, we said the website. We're going to put it in the description. Pero dime, where can people reach out to you, find you, book you?
Yeah, both my Facebook and my Instagram are still up. So I'm at Pasteles Y Más TX for Texas. And yeah, all of my links are there. My link tree's there. So my email, my website, and also my calendar for all of the couples that are wanting to get married and book a wedding cake tasting.
Yeah, Pasteles Y Más TX. Yeah. Do you think it's taking over the world? Pasteles Y Más NY, Pasteles Y Más CA, Pasteles Y Más UT or UH? Oh, what's Utah? UT?
Yeah, UT. I don't know. Hopefully in the future I get to do Pasteles Y Más in other places.
That's pretty cool. Okay, do you inspire to do a brick and mortar for you? Is it because you worked on those restaurants, or is it just more of the things that you want to do, what you're doing currently and moving forward?
Eventually, I do want to do a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to do like a small cake studio,
like a little boutique type style. Oh, neato! And we didn't mention, but you also have events that you are throughout the community, where cake decorating or things like that you go out and about and do as well, ¿verdad?
Yes.
Yeah. How did that come about? The idea to do that?
Thanks to Aida. Shout out Aida. Thank you. She's the one, she's like, because she does the Latina Social Club. And she's like, hey, we're looking for, events. She's like, would you be interested in a cake decorating event? And rapidito, I was like, yes, girl, count me in, And once again, the imposter syndrome started coming in. I was like, can I really teach people how to decorate a cake? And then I took a step back and I was like, well, yeah, because both at Susie Cakes and at Nobu, I was training people. I was training people how to, at Susie Cakes, training people for front of the house. At Nobu, I was training other people how to make the desserts. And I was like, yeah, I got it. I was like, I've trained people. I've taught people. I was like, yeah, I can do this. So that started to snowball into that.
I attended the Christmas cookie decorating, and Bria and I tried it. Phew, they were great, right? I did a great job decorating, by the way.
Yeah, I did like your snowman. Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Amazing work from that.
And also shout out to myself because that was the first time I made vegan cookies.
Yeah.
So.
Look at that. Yeah. Man, they were bomb. The bomb.com. I couldn't tell the difference. It was so good. Me recordaba como un mazapán o... No, un polvorón mexicano, almost. Okay. Of course, a little bit more crunchy. I guess you could say the polvorón mexicano. I don't know if you ever had polvorón. Yeah. But man... It hit. It was delicious. Thanks. Gracias. Yeah. Right for the occasion, we were about to film a Christmas episode. So,
awesome.
Right in the spirit. Saludos. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to give a shout out to your familia, your fam, anybody?
Yeah. Just, shout out to all of my family, my cousins, because they've always been my big supporters. And also Aida, Charcuterie Chic, because of her, I'm able to have this interview with you and work with you at the Kava Bar. And then,
yeah, because otherwise you don't get in. Just kidding.
And all the other opportunities that I had, she's been very inspiring and motivated too. It came to the point where I feel like I get stuck and I'm like, hold on, what would Aida do? Because she always finds a way to do anything and everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Amazing. What is an important lesson that you learn doing the cakes? The art of making cakes that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else out, what would that be?
Be resilient, have a lot of patience, and math and science is going to help you along the way.
Just crazy how literally you're in the lab.
Yeah.
So precise. One little thing off, 1 degree off, one little pinch of something, too much something. Se acabó.
Yeah.
You have to start all over. Usually throughout my day or during my week or sometime, I say something along the lines, I'm not immortal, I am mortal, and I will die one day. Not to terrorize me, be sad, or be frightened, but it's a reality in life. We're not here forever. With that, I wish you a very long, prosperous life after everything's said and done.
Thank you.
What do you want people to think and feel about your life?
Ooh, that's a really great question, but I'm going to knock on wood first. So none of us in this room,
no, we
goes anytime soon.
We forever, baby.
Yeah. I would think fun, silly, and sweet.
Kind of like a cake.
Yeah.
Would you think making cakes because it's just been such a part of you since the first time you discovered when you were 7 to even doing it as an adult. Do you think it's your calling to do this part, like bakery, having something very sweet, very memorable to people in very special events? You think it's a calling for you?
I do. And actually, this past weekend was the confirmation for that. I had a wedding cake. And so I went and delivered that wedding cake. And the mom of the bride gave me a hug. And she's like, thank you so much. The cake looks lovely. Everything's great. You know, I'm really happy. And, you know, approval from a mom, a Mexican mom. That's it. I did it. I made it. And as I was talking to her, you know, she has 3 daughters. The wedding that I did this weekend was her youngest daughter. But it made me realize that I did 2 of her daughters' wedding cakes.
Wow.
So I did her middle daughter's wedding cake last year in August. And now I made her youngest daughter's wedding cake this past weekend. And I'm like, you know, they trust me enough to make a cake for something extremely special. Because as she was telling me, she's like, you know, es mi última. That's it. Like my last baby's getting married, you know, and just seeing both like that bittersweet moment as a mom. And I was like, that's very sweet, you know. And then I thought, wow, she trusted me, you know, to have a cake for both of her daughters' cake, and especially, you know, her youngest daughter. Now that, you know, all of them are married now. On my driving back to the kava bar, it hit me. I was like, yeah, I think I'm meant to do this. I'm like, this is my purpose.
What inspires you? What keeps you inspired to keep moving forward and continue to do the things that you do and innovating your technique?
My 13-year-old self. My 13-year-old self seeing Ace of Cakes for the first time and really having the feeling of determination. I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do when I become an adult, is what keeps me thriving and motivating. I was like, I owe it to my 13-year-old self to, you know, continue.
Congratulations. You're living the dream.
Yeah, I am.
And, again, I've seen your work. I've seen how professional you are. I've seen, you know, even going into exploring how how much science and measurement and all kinds of stuff you have to know to be able to make a cake, you know, the patience behind it, the fusion to be able to honor both cultures, not only, you know, here in the U.S., being here, but also your Mexicano and nostalgic type of flavors that we are so accustomed to that sometimes we forget, to be able to bring it to a bite and to be able to just continue to move forward and do all the things that you do is amazing. And without a shadow of doubt, Jenny Mesa, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I didn't know your last name, huh? ¿Cómo saben? This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe to the channel right now. Why? You have nothing to lose and so much to gain. Amazing stories, powerful stories that will empower you, encourage you, and be able to, maybe if you don't know, if you have an imposter syndrome, to be able to know that you are able to do it as well. And again, we are just like you. We are people. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.